The mammoth voting session on Brexit happened last night, and nobody, including the media and the politicians, are quite sure what really happened. For the last week or so, I've been talking about the 12th of June, where there's a mammoth voting session planned, which happened last night, where members of Parliament voted on the customs union, trade and the EU withdrawal bill. And it happened last night, and the media, the politicians, nobody seems to really quite understand what happened. It's amazing, really. So everybody's confused. They can't work out whether there's been an acceptance that a no-deal Brexit could happen. So we don't know if no-deal Brexit is off the cards, whether any concessions have been made, or whether Remainers have won or lost in this instance. What we do know is that Theresa May technically wasn't defeated, amazingly. That's not what I expected at all. The Daily Mirror reports today, Theresa May wins crucial Brexit vote after last-minute climb down to stop a Tory revolt. Theresa May has scraped through a crucial Brexit vote after she made a frantic last-minute climb down to stop a Tory revolt. The Prime Minister survived a day of chaos that saw a minister quit over her handling of Brexit. She has defeated calls to give MPs a meaningful vote on her plans for leaving the EU, which could have blocked a no-deal Brexit. The meaningful vote, by the way, the meaningful vote really is basically just allowing members of Parliament to vote against Brexit. Meaningful vote, people's vote, whatever you want to call it. It's an attempt by politicians to reverse the results of the 2016 referendum. But back to the article. The ambitious bid was passed by the House of Lords and it looked like it had enough support to pass the Commons. But MPs defeated it by 324 votes to 298, a healthy 26 majority after Tory ministers made a compromise just minutes before the vote happened. So May has won with 26 votes. She didn't need to do it before the Lewisham by-election after all, because that one vote wouldn't really have affected it. Still, this says a healthy 26 majority. 324 to 298. I mean, that's 298 members of Parliament who've effectively, in my eyes and the eyes of most voters, I think, voted against Brexit. That's quite a lot of people, you know. Half of Parliament is against the will of the people. Amazing, given the whole point of Parliament is to represent the people. So May has won this vote. Somehow. But what was the compromise? Well, BBC Daily Politics asked the arch Remainer Anna Soubry what was promised to her by Theresa May to get the Remainers to vote in favour of the government. And this is what she had to say to the Daily Politics.
What was promised to you at that meeting with Theresa May yesterday?
Well, the Prime Minister, do forgive me, I've got a bad throat. The Prime Minister gave her word, as she said, it's a matter of trust, that there would be an amendment in the Lords that would essentially address A and B of the Dominic Grieve amendment. And that was in relation to, in the event of no deal by November, crudely, of this year, that the Minister would come, or rather the government would come with a motion to the House as to what their negotiating position was now going to be, because no deal had been struck. And then there was what we call the C part, and I know you've been talking to Claire about this. And that is more controversial because that relates to February. And I understand that the argument of the government is that that is too binding on their negotiating position. And that is to be discussed now between the Solicitor General and Dominic Grieve. And between them, and perhaps some others, they will come up with an amendment. That was what the Prime Minister gave her word that they would do in the Lords, essentially to cover A and B and come to some agreement in relation to no deal having been struck by February. I have to say, I think this is very unlikely, but it's imperative we do this in case there is no deal.
So it seems like there's two things to consider here. One is, if a deal isn't done by the 30th of November, May's going to have to draw up a whole new plan and then ask the MPs to vote on it. That's one of the compromises she's made to the Remainers to get them to vote for her. But also, the other issue is that the Solicitor General, Robert Buckland, is now talking with other officials to come up with a new amendment that might well decide what will happen if there's still a no deal by February. And this is where the confusion lies. Is a no deal option possible or not at this point? Can we have a no deal Brexit? Will the government be allowed to walk away from the European Union, say no deal, we're done negotiating here, do a Trump? Is that allowed? Well, The Guardian reports, rebels said May had assured them the government would accept 2 parts of Grieve's amendment and immediately open talks on a third Part C, which would allow MPs to direct the government if no deal is reached by February next year. The government would have to give MPs a vote on the next steps if Parliament rejects the Brexit deal or if no deal has been reached by the end of November. Since there is certainly no majority among MPs for no deal, which all but a hardcore of Brexit ultras believe would be disastrous, that now makes no deal extremely unlikely. So no deal is unlikely, probably near impossible, as Theresa May just offered MPs the chance to vote on Brexit if no deal is reached. But if that's true, then it flies in the face of what the Leavers are saying, because the Leavers are denying the claims by Remainers that the PM will let them veto a no deal. So one side's saying if there is a no deal by February, by November, we're going to have a vote on it, but the Leavers at the same time are saying no, actually, the PM's not giving them a veto on a no deal Brexit. What the hell's going on? So The Sun then reports, but amid chaos last night, Leavers flatly denied Remainers' claims that Mrs May had allowed them to veto any no-deal walkaway. Senior Brexiteers insisted that the PM had told them the exact opposite just minutes later and had promised the rebels nothing but a discussion. Number 10 faced massive pressure to clear up the confusion. A senior Brexiteer in the government told The Sun, if Theresa has sold us out here, she is in real trouble. There is no way she can recover if she has effed us over. That's interesting, isn't it? So it looks like the Remainers are now saying that she did promise them some kind of vote if there is a no deal, but minutes later she told the exact opposite to the Leavers. And a senior Brexiteer in the government telling The Sun, if Theresa's sold us out here, she's in real trouble. Obviously, it seems like the Brexiteers and the Remainers in the Tory party have been sold different stories by Theresa May, or at least there's been some confusion along the way. So not only do we not know what's going on with Brexit, not only does the media not know exactly what's going on with Brexit following this mammoth voting session, which has been such a big deal, it seems like the politicians don't even know. And that's a problem. The ambiguity over Brexit must end. It's only getting worse as time goes by. I mean, it's one thing the public not knowing what's going on with Brexit. Robot politicians talk in tongues, we know that. But it's another thing when the politicians themselves don't even know what the hell is going on. The mega voting session that happened on June the 12th hasn't cleared up anything at all. It was meant to be a defining era, a defining part of Brexit, but it's just made things more complicated. Instead, it seems like now the Remainers are angrier than ever for being tricked by Theresa May, and the Brexiteers are saying that if she's effed them now, then she's effed later on. I don't know who I can't stand more at this point, Labour and Lib Dem Remainers, or the rebel Remainers in the Tories who are betraying their own voters and betraying the basic concepts of conservatism. It's time that people like Anna Soubry are held to account, I think. Those who stand in the way of the people should resign their seats, and the Conservative Party should replace those Remainers in the Conservative Party with new candidates who are pro-Brexit. Theresa May, call a general election. Why not? In the face of all this uncertainty, why not throw another general election into the mix? But you know what? You might win this time if you got rid of all the Remainers, replaced them with Brexit candidates, and not only would you sweep up across the country, you'd form a majority government, and you could pass Brexit and have a good legacy. A real legacy that you can be proud of. Go on, Theresa May, do it. If you like that and want to see more, remember to like and subscribe and download the new Rebel app from the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store.